I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is the Piney River Ranger Station area. That's not the ranger station, that's just one of the old buildings that they're trying to save. More on that later. The ranger station's up this way to the left. This is mile marker 22. Yep, there it is. My little red car. And Skyline drives out that way, and we're gonna walk down in this grassy area and head off into the woods to the right. There's a trailhead over there, and I'm gonna hike about a 6-mile loop today from here down to the headwaters of the Piney River and then back up. The elevation here is 3,050 feet. Okay, well, my car's right up there. You come down this grassy area, and here's the trailhead right here. So we're gonna get on this Piney Branch Trail and follow this on down to another trail called Pole Link Bridge, which is down crossing the headwaters of the Piney River. Some information here about the this area. This area was called Camp Redbird back in the 1930s. The Civilian Conservation Corps had a area here, a camp here. And not too far from here is one of the cabins that you can rent from PATC called Rangeview. Two-tenths of a mile into my hike. I'm down to 29.80, and this is the intersection with the Appalachian Trail. Here's where I came from. Parking lot's up that way, and the ranger station. And when you get down here, you see this thing just keep going straight across. .3 miles into my hike, I'm down to 25.80. Been descending the whole time. Gonna be a long ways back up to the top. Anyway, the current day trail is up there, and I just going around this bend, I happened to notice that over here, it was either a super erosion situation or an old trace of an old road. Well, so I came down here and stepped in it, and it's a trace of an old road heading down the mountain right there. So be interesting to come back here sometime and maybe follow this down to the Piney River and see exactly what route it takes. But for now, I'm going to climb back out of the ditch here and go back up and get on the regular trail. We've got about another quarter of a mile to descend until I get down to my next waypoint, which is an intersection with the Pole Link Trail. .5 miles into my hike, I'm down to 2540 elevation. Here's where I came from, and I'm getting ready to cross the headwaters of the Piney River right there. But I thought I'd show you this area here. This is a pretty nice, as long as it hasn't rained real heavily, you could set up a camp back in there somewhere, and you'd have water right out of the river. And then over here on this side, you could push back up in there just a little ways and find yourself a nice spot, especially for like hammock camping. So about another, let me look at my GPS, about another 1/10 of a mile until we get down to the intersection, my next intersection. So let's cross the Piney River Headwaters here and keep going. .7 miles into my hike, I'm down to 2580 elevation, and this is the intersection with the Pole Link Trail. This is where I came from crossing over the headwaters of the Piney River, and the Piney River heads on down the side of the mountain that way. So when you get here, this trail, the Piney River Trail, it veers off to the right and eventually goes down and follows the Piney River on down the side of the mountain. But we're going to head to the left here on this Pole Link Trail and go this way for maybe a half a mile and look for the Sugarloaf Trail, which is going to take us back up the side of the mountain. Two miles into my hike, I'm starting to climb again. I'm up to 2680, and I stepped off the trail off to the right, and here's a nice little cleared out, and it's secluded too, nice cleared out, secluded camp spot back in here. That's all cleared there, and I'm looking back in there. And if you tamp down some brush, back in there is pretty cleared out. This is fairly level. Back there is not quite so level, but you got trees back there for hammocks and stuff. You could even clear out some brush here and set up a camp here. Might be another possibility up there between those two big trees. Or even over that way. So I'll mark this on the GPS. I'll show you where it is on the map when I get back. .1 miles into my hike, I'm up to 2720, Here's where I came from, up the pole link trail. And when you get up to here, we're going to turn left. This is the beginning of the Sugarloaf Trail. Pole link continues straight ahead about another half a mile to an intersection that's called Four-Way. But we're going to turn left here. This is Sugarloaf Trail. It goes from here up to Skyline Drive, and it's about 1.4 miles. And I'm at 2,700. I got to climb up to 3,400, so I got a 700-foot climb in less than a mile and a half. So it's going to be steep. .8 miles into my hike. Whew, this is the steep part. Climbing through 3,000 feet now, and up high enough again that I'm starting to see Mountain Laurel. See that? Still climbing the mountain on Sugarloaf. Thought I'd do a little bit of a video clip here. I'm walking through a tunnel of nothing but mountain laurel. It's all over the place up here. As soon as I got above about 3,000 feet, it just started showing up. .6 miles into my hike. I'm up to 3350, and this is the intersection with the Appalachian Trail. If you go to the right, that's the 18 northbound, and we're going to go this way, southbound. And it's just a short additional climb up to Skyline Drive, and then we're going to head over to Hogback Overlook, and we'll check that out. .7 miles into my hike. I'm up to 3,400 feet. Down there's Hogback Overlook. It turns out there's no way hiking northbound to get over there from here. So we'll just, I'm going to step out on these rocks a little bit. But there's the overlook right there. There's Skyline Drive. And here's looking to the west. Pretty breezy up here. 4 miles into my hike, I'm down to 3380. I peaked out around 3430 or so. There's where I came from, the Appalachian Trail. It crosses over Skyline Drive right here. So I'm going to cross over and continue following it down this way. And I'll eventually get off of it and go back to the ranger station where my car's parked. .4 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3,400 feet. And this is the beginning of the Tuscarora Trail. I'm on the AT, that's where I came from. And when you get to here, this signpost, you want to turn to the right. If you're hiking the Tuscarora, this is the very beginning of it. I'll have to look it up when I get home, but the Tuscarora Trail is, I think it's a couple of 100 miles long. It was intended to be a bypass around the Washington metropolitan area. There was a time when people thought that the AT through the Washington metro area might be lost to development, and so they were trying to scout out a way to get north of the Washington area and still be on a trail. So they came up with this Tuscarora Trail. So anyway, so originally you would have come up from the south from there, and then you would just turn left here on Tuscarora and just do a huge loop around the Washington metro area. Now this section of the Tuscarora is inside Shenandoah Park, so it's just another trail to hike. I'm going to continue on southbound on the Appalachian Trail. Five miles into my hike, I'm at 3,080 feet. Coming out of the woods, there's the Appalachian Trail. I just came down through here. Now the AT goes straight through like over to there, and but I had forgotten there's another overlook up here called Rattlesnake Point. So it's so close, may as well hike up there and see what we can see up there, and then we'll backtrack down here and complete my loop on the AT over there. .1 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3110, and here's the view from Rattlesnake Point overlook. 5.4 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 3,000 feet. I'm hiking along the AT, and this is the intersection with the Piney Branch Trail where I started my hike. So I'm going to turn right and head on back up. I don't know, it's maybe a quarter of a mile back up to the parking area. I'm back to my car. My car's over there. This is the Piney River Technical Building. It's one of the few original structures up here. Dates back to the 1935 or so when they were building the park. And there was a camp here. I took a picture of the sign. I'll post that too. I think it was called Redbird Camp. And the Civilian Conservation Corps men were here, the people that built the park. And this was one of the buildings that was used back in the 1930s. It's getting pretty run down, and I took a picture of the sign asking for help saving it, but it's there was a lot of glare on the sign, so I'm not so sure that it's going to show up. But they're asking for, I guess, donations if somebody wants to, if somebody has the resources to help them save this structure. Otherwise, it's eventually gonna see the bulldozer. Let's hope they can save it. This is a map of today's hike. It's two quadrangle maps pasted together. The upper part is Bentonville, 1994. That's down to here. And then below that is Thornton Gap, 1994. The red line is Skyline Drive. And you park right here. This is about mile marker 22. On the other side is the road that heads over to Matthews Arm Campground. So when you see Matthews Arm Campground, it's on the other side. You come in and you can park. There's some parking areas right here. And then you go into the woods and you'll see a trailhead for Piney Branch Trail right here. You start descending the mountain along this Piney Branch Trail, and when you get down to here, these are the headwaters of the Piney River right here. Just before you cross over the headwaters is that first camping place that I show. Then you cross over the Piney River, continue just a short distance further, and you get to like a three-way intersection here. Bear to the left, and you'll be on this pole link bridge trail. Then you start climbing the mountain. When you get to here, off to the right, you'll see that second camp spot that I showed. And continue to climb the mountain on pole link bridge trail until you get to here. Now when you get to here, pole link bridge continues on this way to the right. Take a left turn onto Sugarloaf Trail and start climbing the mountain And then I climbed all the way up to, when you get up in through here, above about 3,000 feet, you'll start walking through a lot of mountain laurel. Come up to here, and Sugarloaf dead ends and runs right into the Appalachian Trail. Turn left and start hiking south on the AT. Now, originally, I thought when I got to about here, there would be a way for me to jump off the AT and come down here to this hogback overlook, but it turns out that there isn't. So, but there are some vantage points up here. So I got some shots from up in this area. Continue south on the AT, cross over Skyline Drive again, and then continue south on the AT. When you get to here, there'll be another signpost, and if you're hiking southbound like this, you can make a right-hand turn onto the Tuscarora Trail. I continued on south along the Appalachian Trail to here, crossed over Skyline Drive. Well, actually, I turned left and came up to the overlook, got some shots, then crossed over here. And I colored this green because I was originally just going to take this shortcut along Skyline Drive back to my car, but instead I crossed over and followed the AT down like this back to the Piney Branch Trail, and then turned right and did the final climb back up to my car. Now, in this same area is the Piney River Technical Building, the old building from the 1930s. I got some pictures of that. Okay, that completes the loop. And the other thing about the Tuscarora Trail, I looked up a couple things. It was built in the 1960s, and it was originally, they were worried that they were going to lose the Appalachian Trail through the Washington metro area to development. And so in the early 1960s, they were looking for a western bypass around the Washington metro area. And this was it right here, the Tuscarora Trail. That trail is 250 miles long, and it goes through Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and part of Pennsylvania. And then when it gets into Pennsylvania, it rejoins the Appalachian Trail. And that was the hike for today.